Well, we're underway here in the second half. We have no picture on our monitor, so we do not know whether you're getting this signal or not, but we'll just assume that you are. 7:39 to go, third quarter, Northern by 16. Off the glass, Matt Jamison from 14 is good.
Well, let's see if Poyer High can generate some offense here, Eric. They definitely need to early in the third quarter.
Cedric Rogers, top of the key. Looking inside for Diggins. Gets it. Eric Bloomquist is the guarder, but no good. As Diggins puts it in off the glass.
We see right away.
Out of bounds is Matt Jamison. The ball will be turned over to Poyer High.
You see what a difference T.J. Diggins makes to that Poyer High offense. He got the ball underneath. There was nothing Eric Bloomquist could do. It either let him take the shot or foul him. He decided to let him take a shot, and he made it.
John Carlo dribbles to his right, guarded by Jackson. Looks inside, now passes out to Zuloff. Zuloff dribbles to his left, across the top of the key. Cedric Rogers now. Hands off to John Carlo. John Carlo into the paint. Off to Rogers. Rogers guarded by Jamison. Shot, short. Rebound by Davenport for Northern. LaFonce Jackson now across the timeline. 6:35 to go, third quarter. 33-17. The Huskies in command. Jackson in the paint. Gets the shot away. No good. Gets his own rebound. No good. Bloomquist now gets the board. Shot goes up, won't go. Rebound down by Rogers for Poyer High.
Well, Coach Peltz was up in arms over that. He said he thought a foul should be called. Brett Mullins got away with a kick there on Eric Bloomquist. The Northern fans aren't too happy with that.
Jeff Zuloff's going to be called now with the double dribble. Northern will take over following the turnover.
No call for Brett Mullins to do that. I don't know. That looked intentional to me, I'm sorry to say. But I'll tell you, the referees who called a pretty tight first half have kind of let things go here in the first couple minutes. And I'll tell you, when that happens, a lot can break loose.
Whistle underneath. And the foul is going to be called on Northern's Eric Bloomquist, number 54. Into the ball game for Northern, number 42, his brother Todd Bloomquist.
Husky foul number 54, Eric Bloomquist. That's his third.
That's his third, team's first here in the second half. Andrew Diggins will be called for traveling in the paint. No basket. Northern takes over.
And he made a nice play there. He made the basket, but unfortunately he took a little stutter step and got called with a travel violation.
LaFonce Jackson now, guarded by Rogers. Across the timeline. Long pass to Todd Bloomquist. The basket's good.
I tell you, credit LaFonce Jackson there. Poyer High's got to go into a full court press to get back in this game, but nobody can stay with LaFonce Jackson. He made the play all the way. Todd Bloomquist just in the game for his brother made the basket. And again, Coach Peltz calls a very well-deserved timeout here because things are starting to get away from his young Big Red team.
5:44 to go, third quarter. Northern 35, Big Reds 17. Timeout call by the Big Reds.
Well, Eric, since we got a moment, we can recap the first half statistics for Poyer High. They were led by the junior Andrew Diggins with 5. And we had Cedric Rogers with 3, Terry Miller with 2, Brett Mullins with 2, Ryan Mullins with 2, and rounding out the Big Red scoring, Charles Anderson with 1. The Northern Huskies were led by 3 players, Jan Miller with 8, LaFonce Jackson with 8, and Matt Jamison with 8. Rounding out the scoring for the Huskies, Eric Bloomquist with 5, and Rick Rogers with 2.
Poyer High put the ball in play along the sideline. John Carlos pass to Charles Anderson, given off to Cedric Rogers. On the floor for Poyer High, Rogers, Anderson, Jeff Zuloff, Ryan Mullins, and John Carlo. Jeff Zuloff with the left-handed hook, no good. Loose ball picked up by Ryan Mullins. Off to John Carlo, across to Jeff Zuloff, guarded by Matt Jamison. Zuloff goes in the paint. The shot left-handed, no good. Rebound down by Northern's Jamison off to Davenport. Ahead to Jan Miller across the timeline. Long pass for LaFonce Jackson. Shot no good, but the whistle and the foul will be called on Tony Giancarlo.
What a burst of speed there by LaFonce Jackson. I'll tell you, he caught that ball in stride and he was moving full tilt. Giancarlo called for the foul. On the other end, Ryan Mullins did a nice job keeping the ball alive. Jeff Zuloff had a couple 10-footers, but nothing will go. And I'll tell you, time is the big factor now. Even though we've got a quarter and a half to go, Port Huron High has got to find the rim soon.
Foul on Giancarlo, his second, team's first here in the second half. LaFonce Jackson misses the first of two.
I tell you, the strategy right now is for Northern, I'm sure, is to build up as much lead as they can and put this game away in 3 quarters, where Port Huron High can maybe cut the deficit to single digits here before the end of the 3rd quarter. They'll have a real good chance to win this ball game.
Cedric Rogers is called for traveling. Northern will put the ball in play following the infraction. John Davenport inbounding just below us. Gets the pass into Miller. Jan Miller now across the timeline for Northern. Guarded by Ryan Mullins. Jamison back to Miller. Over to Davenport now, top of the key. Looks, bounce past Jackson. Baseline, nope. No shot. The whistle and the foul will be called on Anderson. Northern will put the ball in play underneath their own basket.
The referee made the right call there again. LaFonce Jackson got to the baseline first. Charles Andrews didn't get his feet set. And again, if you're not set, you're going to get called on the foul. And Cedric's coming out.
That's Charles' second foul, team second here in the second half. Inside, nice pass from Davenport to Todd Bloomquist, all alone off the glass. Northern now by 19. We'll make that 21, excuse me.
John Davenport, credit him with a nice pass there. Todd Bloomquist, a sophomore, is really filling some big shoes for his brother there. He's done a nice job with 4 points so far. For your Port Huron High, that was definitely a defensive lap. You just can't let those things happen.
Jan Miller from 16, in and out. Loose ball picked up by Mullins. Ryan Mullins now heads up court. Off to his brother Brett. Over to Tony Giancarlo. Giancarlo guarded by Jackson. Looks inside, no go. Pass for Ryan Mullins. Back to Giancarlo. Giancarlo over to Ryan Mullins to Cedric Rogers. Rogers takes it to the free throw line extended. Now it's into Mullins. Whistle and the foul, we believe, will be called on LaFonce Jackson. Nope, excuse me, 44, John Davenport.
Husky foul number 44, John Davenport. That's his second, team second.
His second, team's second here in the half. 4:03 to go, 3rd quarter, 38-17, the Huskies in command. Brett Mullins off the screen of Miller, no good. LaFonce Jackson goes high for the board for Northern.
Port Huron High just can't buy a basket. Just can't buy one here tonight.
Ryan Jamison, one dribble, no good. John Davenport on the board, will score.
Todd Bloomquist, the sophomore, with 6 points. Definitely the best ball game so far this year for young Todd Bloomquist. Oh, nobody blocked him out, Eric. Nobody blocked him out there.
Shot no good, gets his own board. In the paint, pass in for Miller. Nice pass off to Giancarlo. Sets it up, top of the key.
Tony's got to take that shot, Eric. If they give it to him, he's got to take that shot.
Ryan Mullins from 12, no good. It's Todd Bloomquist on the board. Off to Jamison, ahead to Jackson now. Jackson off the glass, good. 25-point lead now for Northern with 3 minutes to go, and a timeout will be called by the Port Huron High Big Reds.
Port Huron High is gonna, again, they're down. They can't be afraid to shoot. They've got to take as many shots as they can and crash the boards. Again, it's all night long. Port Huron High just hasn't been able to put it down, and we've seen that lead expand from 12-7 to 31-15, now to 42-17. And if you're Coach Hanton, you got to be real happy, and if you're Coach Pelch, you got to wonder what happened so far tonight.
The Huskies have outscored the Big Reds 10-2 to start the second half, and I think that's exactly the opposite of what the Big Red fans would have liked to have seen.
Poirier High definitely needed to come out and assert themselves. You saw T.J. Diggins start the third quarter after sitting on the bench for most of the second quarter in foul trouble. He's got the only 2 points for Poirier High, but again, he committed another foul, and he's been sitting down for about the last 4 minutes. And again, Coach Peltz is trying to teach the young man that he's got to play hard all the time, and I think you'll see him back into the game, looks like right about now.
Todd Bloomquist have come off the bench too here in the third quarter and been strong on the boards for Northern, scoring 6 good points.
Oh, now you saw Todd coming in for his brother Eric. Now you see them both out there. Todd deserves some playing time. He's earned it. Oh, almost nice block. He's going to get called for the foul, but I'll tell you, the sophomore, 2 more years, you could really work with him. He's playing a whale of a ball game here tonight.
On the floor for Northern now are the Bloomquist brothers, Todd and Eric, Matt Jamison, LaFonce Jackson, and Jan Miller. For the Big Reds, we've got Steve Steyer, Andrew Diggins, Cedric Rogers, Brett Mullins, and his brother, Ryan Mullins.
Hey, if Todd Bloomquist can continue to play like this will give the Big Reds an additional bench strength for the districts coming up on Monday night.
Diggins puts the first of 2. The second shot also good. 42-19 now. Northern with the big lead. LaFonce Jackson loses the ball off to Steve Steyer. Shot, no, blocked by Jackson. Off to Miller. Miller racing it with Diggins. Turns around, wisely sets it up top of the key. Pass to Jackson, back to Miller. Jamison looking inside. It's been there all day, and let's see what happens. A foul is going to be called on number 44, T.J. Diggins. The fans here expressing their displeasure. They thought maybe he had position.
Well, I'll tell you, it was either way. Again, Poirier High fans very upset about that call. Look, from our angle, it looked like maybe he went right over on top of T.J. Diggins, who has 4. But I tell you, you gotta leave T.J. in right now. I mean, they're down 20-some points here. A lot of time left, so you gotta leave him in. He's their only offensive threat so far tonight. He's got 9 points. Poirier High only has 19 total points.
And again, Northern going wisely to the big man, Eric Bloomquist, fouled in there by number 32, Cedric Rogers. To the line is Bloomquist. How many times has he been there, Randy?
Cedric Rogers, that's his third, team fourth. At the line for the Huskies, number 54.
Well, Eric's only made 1, but I think he's been there about 3 or 4 times. But both him and his brother have played very well tonight.
Eric puts the first one down. Second one is short, but Matt Jamison, no, Brett Mullins, tie it up, jump ball. Possession rule will go to Poirier High. 2.5 minutes to go, third quarter, 43-19 is our score. The Northern Huskies on their way to a triple whammy here at Northern High School, winning the freshman, winning the JV, and in command here in the varsity contest. Ryan Mullins is going to be called for the travel.
Yeah, the 2 players out there for Poirier High that have really, again, got to go offensively are 32 Cedric Rogers and 44 Andrew Diggins. But again, you got to give them the ball, and it looks like they're not going to their bread and butter players. And 43-19, a lot of catching up to do for the Big Reds.
Chan Miller guarded by Gilbert, takes it in the paint, turn around, gives it off to Jamison. Jamison gets a shot away. And the foul is going to be called on number 24, Brett Mullins. Mr. Peltz is certainly getting a little excited at this point.
Big red foul, number 20.
That was a good call. He definitely got whacked on the arm there. Again, the foul seemed to be a little bit one-sided, but again, Poirier High's had a foul to try to get back in the ball game. And again, Matt Jamison, these are freebies for Matt.
Matt puts the first of 2 in. And the second one is also good. Cedric Rogers now across the timeline, guarded by Miller. Top of the key. Gives it off to Gilbert. Gilbert from 3. No good. Rebound by Ryan Mullins. Off to Diggins. Diggins, turnaround jumper is good.
You got to go to what got you here, and Port High unfortunately hasn't done that tonight. But again, in all fairness, Andrew Diggins has been in foul trouble and has had to sit down for most of this ball game.
Jackson's ball tipped away by Gilbert, out of bounds to Northern. 1:28 to go, third quarter. 45-21 is our score. Pass to Eric Bloomquist, looking underneath, guarded by Diggins. Jan Miller, top of the key, guarded by Gilbert. Off to Jamison. Jamison guarded by Mullins. Takes it to the baseline. Good defense by Brett. Pass into Miller in the paint. The shot goes up, no good. Tipped away by Mullins. Back to Jamison, off the glass, and good.
Nice block there off the glass, but it went right back to Matt Jamison. I tell you, don't give Matt too many chances. He put it through again.
Paul Gilbert guarded by Jackson, off to Ryan Mullins. Mullins jumper, no good. LaFonce Jackson now across the timeline, bounce pass to Jamison, shot off the glass and good. Northern running away with it now, 49-21, inside a minute to go in the third quarter. Rogers guarded by Miller, into Diggins. Diggins in the paint, guarded by Bloomquist. The shot goes up, no good. Jackson tips it to Bloomquist. And now the foul will be called on Brett Mullins.
Well, Brett and Eric have been going at it all night, and Brett got called for one there. Again, it's been all Port Northern since the early in the second quarter. TJ Diggins is already in double figures, and he really probably hasn't even played 1/4 of the ball game. So again, foul trouble has definitely hurt him, but unfortunately, while he's been on the bench, there's been nobody close to being able to pick up the offensive slack, which Port High desperately needs so much.
Other end of the court, Randy, Matt Jamison, hasn't taken that many shots, but he's been good on probably 8 of them or so. He's got 16 or 18 points.
Well, you don't need to in a game like this, Port Northern, the clock's working for him. Matt's taking high percentage shots, and he's hitting them, and that's what counts.
Gilbert's pass into Rogers, a nice pass. He scores on the easy layup. 15 seconds and counting. LaFonce Jackson now across the timeline, guarded by Rogers.
Just to show you how bad offensively Port High's been, that is the first 2 points in the third quarter, other than by TJ Diggins of Port High.
Well, the Northern Huskies in the third quarter have really taken command of this ball game. Our score after 3 quarters, 49-23 here at Port Northern High School.
Well, Port High outscored Northern there 18-8, and again has increased their lead by a score of 49-23 with 8 remaining. You can just see the dejected faces on the Port High players, but again, you can also learn from an experience like this. There's 8 minutes to go. You don't hang your head. You play as hard as you can. You've got the districts coming up, and again, you've got to use this time as preparation for those districts, and win or lose, you don't quit. And I know that's what Coach Peltz is telling his team right now. Don't quit on me, guys. Show me something in the last 8 minutes. Let's win this quarter. Let's win one of these quarters and go out of here with our heads up.
Well, they certainly could be setting up a rematch too, Randy. I mean, I don't like to look ahead that far, but it's very feasible with the way the brackets were drawn for that district down at L'Anse Creuse North next week that the Northern Huskies very well have the talent to win that district, and the Big Reds, with the draw they got, could very well end up in that championship game with them.
Well, with Port High drawing the bye, if they get by one team, they're in the finals. We're definitely, Port Northern's got a harder task to go, so you're definitely right. You could see these two teams again probably next Friday night for the district finals in L'Anse Creuse North.
Northern puts the ball in play on the possession rule. On the floor for Northern is Greg Clark, John Davenport, Brian Jamison, Eric Bloomquist, and LaFonce Jackson. Jamison goes strong to the hoop. Good basket by Jamison, 51-23. On the floor for the Big Reds, Michael Miller, Cedric Rogers, Terry Miller, TJ Diggins, and Jeff Zuloff, all underclassmen for Port High at this point. Michael Miller gets the rebound. Turnaround jumper is good. Greg Clark called for the infraction on a double dribble across the timeline. Port High will put the ball in play. Back into the ball game is Jan Miller.
It was nice to see Michael Miller get his first 2 points of the ball game. He's going to get, I think, some playing time this fourth quarter, so let's see what he can do.
Nice pass to Diggins from Miller. The ball stripped away, however, by Jan Miller on a fine defensive play. Pass now to Davenport. Davenport goes up. He's going to be called on the offensive foul. Terry Miller standing his ground down close to the hoop.
Well, finally, Port High player got set there, and nice play by the fine freshman, and Port High will bring it up court.
Cedric Rogers guarded by Miller. Off to Michael Miller. To Jeff Zuloff. Zuloff guarded by Brian Jamison. The shot won't count, but the foul will be called on Brian. Jeff Zuloff to get 2.
Well, Jeff's, he started the ball game. He's put up about 5 or 6 shots, but unfortunately he doesn't have anything to show for it. But again, he's only a sophomore, got 2 years ago, and again, he knows what to do with the basketball, and once he gets on track, he'll be a fine ball player.
Jeff puts his first of 2 in. The second one is also good. 51-27, 6 and 48 in the fourth quarter. Davenport across the timeline, guarded by Jeff Zuloff. Off to Jan Miller. Miller looking inside now, gets it off to Brian Jamison. Now they go inside to Eric Bloomquist. Yet another easy basket for Eric Bloomquist.
A nice pass there by Brian to Eric, and again, you just can't stop that. High just doesn't have the height.
LaFonce Jackson off the glass, no good. Terry Miller on the board. Outlet pass to TJ Diggins. Diggins to the hoop, no good. Bloomquist with the board, but the whistle and the foul is going to be called on TJ Diggins, and he will be exiting this ball game with 6:14 to go.
Well, I know TJ's upset there. He thought he should have got, there was a no call there. There definitely was contact, could have went either way. Ref called it a no call. And TJ didn't make the basket, and in frustration, he's just fouled out of tonight's ball game. As you said, Eric, with quite a bit left, but he finishes, I believe, with unofficially 11 points tonight, and there's nobody close to him. And again, I would say we've got, 4 8-minute quarters, 32 minutes. I would say TJ's probably only played about a total of about 5.5 minutes before total playing time.
To the line, shooting 1-1 is Eric Bloomquist. First one is good. They've doubled the score once again on the Big Reds, up by 27. Eric's second shot also good. Michael Miller now across the timeline for the Big Reds. Into the paint, goes up strong, no whistle. And the foul is going to be called on Matt Jamison. Michael Miller to shoot 2 for Port High.
A nice move there by the sophomore Michael Miller. He got his first bucket a couple minutes ago, and he's looking to add to that. Unfortunately, again, very nice move, but they just can't get it to fall for the Big Reds tonight.
Michael's shot just a little bit strong off the iron. He'll get 2 as he is fouled in the act of shooting.
Quite a switch from, again, a month ago, Eric, where Port Northern needed last few second free throws to pull out a 61-58 win against Port High. And again, you could say that this game's been over since early in the third quarter.
Well, I think the experience of the Huskies against the youth of the Big Reds certainly playing a difference in tonight's ball game. Craig Clark scores from 10 for Northern. Jeff Zuloff's pass intended for Terry Miller tipped away. John Davenport now across the timeline. Jamison inside Eric Bloomquist. Turnaround goes up. No good. Loose ball picked up by Greg Clark. He gets it out to Davenport. Davenport's going to be called for the travel, forgetting to put the ball to the floor. Into the ball game is Steve Steyer for the Big Reds.
I look for Port Northern coach Dan Hanton to empty his bench here. Again, playing a final home game, a lot of these seniors. I'm sure he'll get them out there soon. See some action in front of the very large crowd tonight at the Husky Gymnasium.
Another three-point try, no good. Terry Miller gets the board. He gets the second one also.
Into the game for the Huskies, number 50, Rick Rogers, and number 24, Chris Nesbitt.
Terry did a nice job there again. The freshman's really showing something here, but his glasses just flew right off his face, and I think they busted. I don't. Hopefully you can see without him because they're definitely busted here. But he's not coming out. He wants to play. So whether he can see or not, he's going to do the best job he can.
Sure. Ryan Mullins inbound pass to Cedric Rogers. Looking inside now. Ryan from the free throw line across to Rogers. To Jeff Zuloff. Zuloff guarded by Odgers. No good on the shot. Loose ball picked up by Rick Odgers. And traveling is going to be called on Rick Odgers. Also into the ball game for Northern, number 24 is Chris Nesbitt. Chris is a 6'3" senior guard, getting some well-deserved playing time in his final home game here at Northern.
14, Jacob Miller.
Well, Chris's dad coaches the St. Clair County Community College basketball team, who just ended their season last week. So he definitely comes from a basketball family.
Ball goes out of bounds to Northern. Jan Miller across the timeline, guarded by Jeff Zuloff. To Jamison. Jamison inside for who else? Eric Bloomquist. Tipped away, but Znethers picks it up, gets it off to Jamison. No good. Terry Miller clears the board, but he's going to be fouled by Rick Odgers, and Terry Miller will shoot 1 and 1.
And Terry Miller's been impressive tonight. He doesn't have many points to show for it, but to tell you, he's hustling. He can, at 6'3", and he's got about a 32-inch vertical jump. He can really get up. And again, Coach Peltz has him for 3 more years. And this is a young man to be reckoned with. I tell you, there's a lot of fine freshmen and sophomores on both of these teams. Yes. So there's definitely some talent coming up in the next couple of years.
I had the pleasure of coaching Terry at Central last year in football, and he was just a joy to be around. Not only was he a hustler, but he was a character on the field as far as keeping the team loose. He was always pulling practical jokes and whatnot on both the coaches and the players, and was just a lot of fun to be around. Dan Larison in the ball game for Northern. He gets the foul, his first of the ball game. Jeff Zuloff will shoot 1 and 1. Odgers clears for Northern. Outlet pass to Nesbitt, back to Miller. Jan Miller now guarded by Zuloff. Ahead to Jackson, guarded by Rogers. Foul's going to be called on number 52, Dan Larison. I got a feeling he might have tried an illegal pick of some point. Illegal block on Larison. And to the line for 1 and 1 will be Cedric Rogers.
Well, up until this year, Poyer and I had dominated this series for about 4 years in a row. Poyer and Northern had come away dry, both at Poyer High and Poyer Northern. But this year it looks like a clean sweep for the Huskies.
Odgers on the rebound for Northern, following the missed free throw by Cedric Rogers. Jan Miller now top of the key. Off to Larison. Dan Larison looks inside, finds LaFonce Jackson in the paint. Turnaround jumper, no good. Picked up by Rogers. Rogers now on a 3-on-2. Bounce pass Zuloff. Strong up the glass, left-handed layup. Nice play by Jeff Zuloff from Rogers. Jeff, by the way, only a sophomore.
I'll tell you, he's got good bloodlines, I'll tell you. Jay at Bowling Green and John at Michigan State. And I tell you what, Jeff goes about 6 feet right now, but I bet you this is the summer that he sprouts up, probably about 6'4" by when we see him next year.
Miller now guarded by Ryan Mullins. Off to Jackson. Jackson takes it in the paint, goes up strong, no good, but the foul will be called on, I believe, LaFonce Jackson. He's going to be called on the ball control offensive foul. Ryan Mullins stood his ground and said, come on, let's go.
That's good to see. Again, the guys out there for Poyer High definitely have not quit. They're trying to win this quarter. And again, we've got 3:38 remaining. You can never quit. Never show the other team that you're going to quit.
Tim Schneider, number 20, into the ball game for Northern. He's a 5'10" junior forward. Michael Miller from the free throw line. Extended is good. Our score with 3:24 to go in the ball game, 57-31, Northern in command. Ball tipped away by Terry Miller out of bounds. Northern will put the ball in play.
Congratulations to a Colleen Conley out there.
Inbounding the ball for Northern is number 52, Dan Larison. Gets it into LaFonce Jackson. Jackson guarded by Michael Miller. Pass inside to Chris Nesbitt. Stripped away by Terry Miller on a fine defensive play. Miller now across the timeline. Gets the pass off to Jeff Zuloff. Zuloff back to Miller. Back to Zuloff from three. No good, off the iron. Tim Schneider now, all the way down the floor, goes up and scores!
Well, it looked like 2 Portland High Big Reds were going to go for the block there, but Tim took it coast to coast. A nice basket off the glass for his 2 points for tonight.
Ryan Mullins to Steve Steyer. Back out to Michael Miller, top of the key. Inside, Terry Miller, turnaround jumper, no good. Loose ball picked up by LaFonce Jackson. Jackson from 10, off the glass, good.
Nice between the legs dribble there by LaFonce off the glass. Very good night for LaFonce.
Michael Miller takes a three-pointer. I'm not so sure that Coach Peltz would like to see him do those things. They're certainly not going to get it back into this ball game. We'll probably see if they can get a little chemistry going before the tournament next week. LaFonce Jackson calls timeout for Northern. Inside 2 minutes, 1:58 to go. 61-31 is our score.
What can you say? If you're Coach Peltz at Portland High, you just got to forget this ball game like it never happened. And again, one nice thing, they do have a bye in the district. They don't play on Wednesday night, so they've got really 4 days ahead of them of, I'm sure, hard practices. Again, you just got to tell your team to forget it and move forward. That's all you can do.
Well, if you're a Northern fan, you certainly are pleased by tonight's results. Port Huron Northern winning a triple crown here at Northern High School. Freshman team defeating the Big Reds freshman team 62-58 in the first ball game of the evening. Prior to tonight's game here, the Northern JV team defeated the Big Red JV team by a score of 58-46. And the varsity team certainly going to take this one in the win column as well. Also, our congratulations to Northern's Snow Extravaganza King. That he is Andy Collins, selected this week by the student body. That announcement made just before tonight's ball game. Congratulations to Andy from all of us here at CPHS Channel 12. Greg Clark now inbounds to Nesbitt. Nesbitt takes it strong to the hoop and score. Michael Miller now, top of the key. Off to Jeff Zuloff. Zuloff's long pass for Steyer. The foul is going to be called on Brian Jamison, number 34.
I've got almost everybody in Port Huron Northern's lineup having scored at least 1 point today, except for just a couple of players. Again, that's unofficially. So, again, in a game like this, you definitely get to play all your players. And, again, in a final game in front of your home fans, I know Coach Ann's very glad to see coming away with a victory, able to use everybody on his team. And, again, they've all contributed to, again, you've got to compliment Northern. Did a fine job tonight. And, something to build on when they play a tough L'Anse Creuse North team Monday night in L'Anse Creuse.
Jamison now across the timeline, guarded by Ryan Mullins. To the baseline, pass to Odger, shot is good.
Well, Brian kind of hit the leg there, Jeff Zuloff, but the ref called a no foul, so nice steal there by Mr. Clark.
Too hard off the glass, the rebound no good by Schneider, then Jamison follows up. Foul's going to be called on Steyer for the Big Reds. To the line for two is Brian Jamison.
Steve Steyer, that's his first. At the line for the Huskies, number 34, Brian Jamison, shooting two.
Ryan's first shot is no good. He'll get the second one. 1:08 to go. 65-33 is our score. Ryan's second shot also no good. Michael Miller clears for the Big Reds. In the paint, Michael goes up strong, right-handed, no good. Fights for his own rebound. Ryan Mullins finally picks it up. Gets it off to Steyer. Steyer, baseline. Left shot, no good. Whistle, and the foul will be called on, I believe, number 50. That's Rick Odgers.
And again, Poirier High, give them credit. They haven't quit. They keep throwing them up, but unfortunately, there's just there's like a wall built around that rim tonight. They just have had no luck at all. Their leading player, Andrew Diggins, again fouled out a long time ago. Was in foul trouble the entire game. Definitely hurt Poirier High's chances here tonight. And again, we repeat, a month ago the score was 61-58 Poirier Northern. So definitely. We're definitely not seeing the Poirier High team that's capable of playing good EML basketball.
I think that's true, but this is a good win for Northern too, going into the district with a big win like this. Greg Clark inside to Otkers, guarded by Mullins. Turnaround shot short. Out of bounds. Poirier High will take over.
Definitely a very impressive, with a capital I, very impressive victory here tonight for Poirier Northern on their home court in front of a large contingent of Husky fans.
Gilbert's shot is no good. He was fouled by Tim Schneider on the block. Exactly 30 ticks left to go in the ball game.
At the line for the Big Reds, number 12, Paul Gilbert, shooting 2.
His first attempt, no good. Fouled in the act of shooting, however, he'll get the second. He makes good on the second. 65-35 now is our score. Greg Clark dribbles, now back to Jamison. Jamison goes to the hoop strong, lays it up. He's going to be called for the offensive foul. We'll wait and see. I don't believe the basket's going to count. No basket. Offensive foul called on Brian Jamison. Paul Gilbert now. Off to Jeff Zuloff. Reverse dribble. Shot from 12. Good. Greg Clark scores for. As time will expire, a whistle, we will have yet 1 second to go in the ball game. The foul on number 50, Rick Odgers. To the line for 2 will be Paul Gilbert. Well, Randy, if you want to quickly recap the scoring, you can have the microphone.
As Mr. Gilbert makes his second point of the night. Well, let's see what he does here. And
he puts them both down at 67-39, and that will be our final score here from Northern High School. Well, the Northern fans celebrating. Randy, recap quickly our top scorers.
Okay, for the visiting Poirier High Big Reds, they were led by Andrew Diggins with 11, Cedric Rogers with 5, Paul Gilbert with 3, Michael Miller with 4, Terry Miller with 2, Charles Anderson with 1, Brett Mullins with 2, Jeff Zuloff with 6, all in the second half, and Ryan Mullins with 2. For the victorious Poirier Northern Huskies, they were led by Matt Jamison with 16, LaFonce Jackson with 12, Eric Bloomquist with 10, rounding out the scoring. Greg Clark 4, Jan Miller 8, Tim Snyder 2, Chris Nesbitt 2, Brian Jamison 2, Todd Bloomquist 6, and Rick Odgers 4.
Well, that's going to do it from Northern High School. We want to certainly pass on. Our producer was Larry Manns. Our director was Jeff Casson. And the fine camera work for tonight's game, the guys that really do the hard work, Kurt Lucas and Mike Schroeder. My name's Eric Rucker for Randy Fernandez and all of us here at CPHS Channel 12. Good luck to both teams next week in the March Madness Tournament, the district at L'Anse Creuse North. Our final score, once again, the Northern Huskies 67, the Big Reds 39. Have a pleasant good evening.